So, I will give my presentation today about a newly discovered Jules Richard autograph with the title, What is the Verascope? Qu'est-ce que le Verascope? And first, for all of you who don't know what the Verascope is, it's one of the first big commercial stereo cameras in France. It was introduced in 1893 by Jules Richard, and it was the start of a large boom of stereo photography for the amateur market because it was so small. So that's basically all you need to know to follow my presentation. But if you want to know more about the Verascope camera in detail, there are 3 books in French called Jules Richard et la magie du relief. They are not printed anymore, but from time to time they turn up on a second hand. So these 3 volumes are basically the must-have sources if you want to know anything about Jules Richard and the development of the camera, accessories, etc., etc. But this is really difficult because it's basically the only source that you have with deep research done in the 1990s by Jacques Perin. Well, I didn't expect that I would find a needle in a haystack when I was looking through some local advertising sites and stumbled across those beautiful stereo viewers. They were a bit expensive, but I decided to buy them. And when I received them, the woman who sold them to me had included a small letter and said, now that you have my 2 viewers, I want to tell you the whole story about them. And then she introduced herself, and she told me that she was the granddaughter of the last business partner that Jules Richard had. Jules Richard died in 1930, and he had no children, so all his possessions went with the company to his last business partner. And these 2 viewers are basically brought from the office of Jules Richard. So it's likely that Jules Richard himself had them in use in his office. So I went back to that woman and said, oh, well, but that's really extraordinary. Do you have anything more? And she said, no photos, no stereo viewers. And I said, oh, well, I would also be very interested in any documents or letters or something like that. And suddenly I ended up with tons of private stuff of Jules Richard, which I would never had expected. There were, on the left, there are travel documents. In the middle, there are handwritings of him, or on the down right corner, there is an exclusive off-print of an article he had written about the Verascope. And there are medals on the down left corner. This is the medal that Jules Richard received for participating in the World Exhibition in Paris in 1900. And if you now think, oh, well, is there any proof? Yes, there is, luckily. There is proof because the documents in the middle, the 3 handwritten papers, or the 4 handwritten papers, are in fact also depicted in the 3 books that I showed you before. So I believe that this is really true and this is not fake. And in these documents, I found one letter. It's actually, as you can see, it's written on both sides, and it's written not officially on the company's letterhead. It was turned upside down, and obviously the text starts on the back, just like a note. And as I went through this autograph, I realized that this has to be written by Jules Richard himself, and it was about the Verascope. And I think we can take the time to read it together, and I've prepared some English translation. And I have now a helping hand by Carlton. Carlton, please go ahead.
Okay. What is the Verascope? It is a very small device, but it is not like other small devices. Indeed, a small device produces small photographs that must be enlarged by some means. A small device has its merits, for it allows one to carry a considerable number of plates in a small volume. First of all, and at a modest price, secondly. Oh, let me reread that. A small device has its merits, for it allows one to carry a considerable number of plates in a small volume, first of all, and at a modest price, secondly. But a small device, if it is not the Verascope, has all the drawbacks of large devices. The images are distorted. They are neither correct from the point of view of perspective nor from the point of view of the education of the eye. That's an interesting.
Yes, that's something where I want to jump into. Uh, the distortion of the images means basically like some fisheye effect that we know from action cameras. This means distortion of the image in the corners, and the correct point of view of perspective means what we all know means the baseline, because the larger and earlier stereo cameras were as large as you can expect, and the baseline, because of the glass plates inside, had always to be larger than the eye distance. So that's what he's talking about here. And this was something really new for the Verascope. It has exactly the average eye distance of a human. Okay, we go on.
This is the point at which some people reflect, yet still utter absurdities that we will easily refute. Indeed, I have heard people say, but Mr. Richard, I do not see where you find distortion in this perspective. The foreground is larger and appears exaggerated, but that is simply the law of perspective at work.
Yeah, and this is exactly what new stereo photographers hear if people tell them that their baseline is not right.
Besides these, there are those who not only reflect, but who also know and who have therefore studied true perspective. They tell us, when I wish to depict a view of in a painting or a theater set, I cannot do so with one or several photographs. If I were to take a photograph and transfer it squarely onto my canvas, no one would recognize the landscape I intended to create, unless it is a well-known monument, such as the Paris Opera or the Church of Notre Dame, which are universally familiar. In such cases, the eye competes from memory what it has seen. For everyone is capable of mentally correcting errors in perspective. But for a subject that is less familiar, one could easily be mistaken to the point of not even recognizing the principal subject. This is precisely what we show with our Verascope, and nothing else in the world can correct such errors, like we prove with this instrument. That's a pretty strong statement.
Yeah, it is. But it really was what the name should tell. Verascope from
Periscope, right.
Greek goddess Veritas.
And in the world, not just France.
Yes.
Many devices have been made, and the variant from the Zeiss company in Jena is
Jena.
Jena is certainly an attempt toward the ideal apparatus, one that ought to be fully superimposable upon reality.
Yes, and the Verand lenses were indeed used in the Verascope in later models. So this is kind of well, maybe not not well, maybe giving kind of a praise to the Zeiss company for collaboration, maybe.
And this is high-end equipment. This isn't your over-the-counter stuff, I presume. An absolute image. Such a thing seems incredible, mathematically exact, superimposable upon reality, seen from the very spot where the photograph was taken. The image has always been considered a fiction. Evidently, it is an image and not reality itself. But a true image, one that can be superimposed upon reality, one that presents relief and a true perspective with the horizon at infinity, just as you perceive it, that is what the Verascope delivers, and we prove it with a demonstration impossible to refute.
So if you have expected that now there is the demonstration, well, no, it's the end of the letter. So thank you, Carlton, for your help. And I will take over for my presentation again.
Thank you. It's fun.
So if you try to remember what you just heard, it was all about the true image, the true perspective, etc., etc. And there are indeed two other sources where Jules Richard himself speaks to us or writes from his point of view. And I have given them this order. The first one was edited and printed, and so it's clear that it's from 1894, and it was in a scientific journal. This one that I have showed to you is probably from 1906. I will talk about that later. And then there is the one that was in full length published by Jacques Perin in these 3 volumes. It's an extensive text about the Verascope again. And because Jules Richard tells us he's 72 at that time, we can conclude that it was made in 1920. It was written then. And the translations of the French titles mean like photographic perspective and eye perspective. What is the Verascope? And how do you make an invention that makes millions? So the 2 autographs were not printed at their time. So I think that probably they have been speeches, not made for printing, like the journal, the first source, but maybe they were, speeches. So for dating this document, the letterhead, I've turned it in the right way, mentions some years. And the latest is the Grand Prix in Milan, in Italy. It was 1906. So this is the latest year on the letterhead. So of course, this autograph cannot be earlier. But I have some more Richard letters, or not autographs from him, but letters from the company. And I have some from 1900, and the latest that I have are from the 20s. So if you look on the left, there is a letter with the date, with the year 1906 given in the handwriting. And it has obviously a completely different letterhead. If you compare back here, the one has Exposition de Liège, membre du jury or concours on the top. And the right one, which is from 1908, has the same letterhead that we have just seen on the paper where the autograph is on. So probably it could be from 1908, right? Or if you look even closer, you see the telegraphic code given. It's the code. I don't know so much about telegraphic codes. It's the code Lieber or Lieber. I don't know how to pronounce it, but you find something about it if you search on the internet. And there was clearly a typo in a later version of the letterhead, adding a wrong S at the end. So this is exactly the same typo that is on the letterhead used in the autograph. So maybe it was in 1909. Well, summary. We have the following years given. 1906 for the Grand Prix. The letterhead is maybe 1907 or 1908. The typo tells us it's maybe late 1908 or even 1909. Well, unfortunately, I have no letter from the 1910 going on, so there is a break for my research. But I would suggest that the typo would be corrected soon, and that the gold medal that he received in London would find its way on a later letterhead, wouldn't it? Maybe in 1910. So I would assume this autograph was written most likely in 1908 or 1909, maybe later. So that is all what I can really do on research. If you have something more, please let me know. But here are my final thoughts. This autograph is a kind of a short version of the 1894 scientific article. If you would go through this article, it has like 10 pages, and it has many pictures, many in detail, mathematics, technical terms, etc. And the short summary here is somewhat like 15 years later when the Verascope was really famous. So why would you give a short explanation to something that is already well known? I don't know at this point. But if someone uses the company's letterhead and starting on the back, this seems rather spontaneous. It does not seem like something for use for printed version or something. But if we conclude that it was written rather spontaneous, it will show us what Jules Richard was particularly fond of and what came to his mind first. And still, this true image is in the name of the Verascope. It's still really the centerpiece, maybe. And maybe this was a speech for his 60th birthday. Perhaps he realized just too late that he was supposed to give a speech. It was in late 98. So this is just a guess, but I think it would be really a nice source if it was for his birthday. Yeah, but we never know. But this is my presentation. Thank you for listening.